What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Indie Center YouTube channel and the JP and Trav show. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. And to the right of me, I have the homie Trav. Who looks like he's got a little bit of something set up there. Trav, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Just testing out new equipment that I got. I got the coffee table all set up, so got a little Mario Kart in the background. So yeah, just I don't know, try up my game a little bit, see what's going on.
Yeah.
People have been always asking me to get a light, so finally got a light and got the microphone to go with it on the old boom setup. So we in here, man.
Rocking. Rocking. Man, it's been an interesting week. Obviously, last week we talked a lot about the transfers that we had gotten in. We talked a little bit about Jeff Lebby, which that hasn't gone away. That's kind of been something that kind of turned up a little bit. But I would like to get into a little bit of some of the junior recruits that we're looking at again, that 2024 section. So we'll talk about that for a second, and then we'll kind of open it up for questions, kind of as a Q&A time for the majority of the episode. But Trav, what are you hearing in terms of let's start with Lebby. Obviously, there's still some more smoke on that in terms of Bama, and is that something to you that you feel like people are just bringing up with no reputable sources, or do you think that Lebby might give a look to Alabama? What's your opinion?
Look, I mean, I think we all know the name Jimmy Sexton by now, but there's an agent that is Venable's agent, Saban's agent, and Lebby's agent. So I don't think it's any secret why it's kind of taking so long. I don't think that he's going to take the Alabama job. I'm like 98% sure that he's not going to take the Alabama job, but I do think he probably gets a raise out of this, and
Yeah,
probably rightfully so. Lebby's next job will be a head coach. He's already turned down 2 head coaching jobs. And we all talked about if Lane Kiffin ended up taking the Auburn job, that, I mean, Jeff Lebby was going to be one of the guys they called to take the Ole Miss job. So, with that being said, I think he sticks around. This is his alma mater. I think that matters to him. He's with another. He's working for a guy that's on his 3rd job in 30 years. So I don't see that as, if you're gonna watch somebody, might as well make it somebody that doesn't jump around all that often.
yeah,
But I mean, he was a Lane Kiffin departure away from likely being at minimum interviewed as one of the top candidates at Ole Miss. So I don't think that he's going to take the OC job. I mean, yes, the OCs at Bama, they get gigs. Absolutely, they do. But they also, in like a Bill O'Brien sense, if you don't work out, you don't work out. So I think that he likes where he is. I think he can make plenty of money where he is. I mean, all the guys that he was college roommates with and all these, they're all, on the staff. So I do think Lebby is sticking around for the long haul, but it is funny. It is funny, JP. How many times did we, field questions about Lebby in the comments throughout the season of fire this, fire blah, blah, blah. He's no good, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And now all of a sudden everybody's like, nah, we need you to stick around. Come on, man. Let's get this guy a raise. Let's get this guy, blah, blah, blah. Like, look, if Nick Saban and Brent Venables both want you, I think, and Lane Kiffin wanted you to call his offense, all this, like, I'm pretty sure Jeff Lebby is good at his job. Like,
Yeah,
I'll just leave it at that.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, we had to. I mean, we fielded so many crazy questions and comments about how he's clearly not doing that well, and they obviously they had questions about his time management, different things like that. And I get that you have questions. Every offensive coordinator, for the most part, gets a question on different things, but just the way people spoke about it was like, "What is Levy doing?" And we're like, "Bruh." Like the offense was not the issue this year at all. So you can say what you want about it, but I think it's being proved now with the his name being put up there. Clearly, he's a guy that's a hot commodity and a guy that people know knows offense and that people know recruits like and want to play for. So just be glad we have him in Oklahoma and that he's the Oklahoma kid, right? So that bodes well for us moving forward. I'm sure it'll all be put to bed here soon once Alabama hires whoever they're going to hire. But I'm sure we'll probably also have to deal with speculation um, continually up until that point. So love to see him get a raise out of it. I think he deserves it. I think he's done a good job in terms of that. Hey guys, before we move on, go ahead and make sure you like and share this video. Again, if you like what we do, go ahead and click the like button real quick and make sure you share it. We're a little light on numbers early tonight, which is okay, but just go ahead and share and get some people in here. We want to make this a episode we engage a lot. We want to do a lot of comment section tonight, so not as much just us going off a topic. So please get people in here so we can answer questions and have a fun night together. um, Speaking of that, Trav, talk a little bit about. I saw some of your tweets the other day. Talk a little bit just about the OU TCU game, basketball game the other day.
Ooh,
What was that experience like?
ooh. I mean, for those that watched it, it's everything went wrong for OU that could have.
Mm.
Everything went right for TCU that could have. I mean, we're fouling jump shooters like right out of the gate. We're fouling 3-point shooters right out of the gate. We've got balls rimming out. We're leaving floaters short. The team as it's currently constructed, if Sherfield doesn't play well, then we have close to a 0% chance of winning.
Yeah,
Unfortunately. It's you need that dude, and we need more dudes because, quite frankly, we don't have the talent to match up on a night in and night out basis in the Big 12. Simple as that. Big 12 has 6 teams in the top 20 nationally. That's 60% of the Big 12. That's insane. So, I mean, I think they've got like 5 of the top 12, I think.
mm.
I mean, so it's pretty wild. I think 5's Kansas State, maybe 9's KU, 11 was like I think 11's TCU, maybe 10 was Texas. Like it's pretty wild up there. So, anyways, it's just tough, man. Like I don't envy Porter Moser because I don't know how you recruit to OU in its current state. And I know that sounds crazy, but I was talking with somebody today about how the women, the argument against going to men's games is, oh, it's not an exciting product.
Mm.
Oh, the team's not very good.
Mhm.
Therefore, we won't go to the games. The problem with that is the women's product is very exciting.
Mm.
The women's team is very good. So is it a basketball thing? Is it a women's sports thing with that specific one? And somebody said, well, the women had almost 10,000 people at the Bedlam game.
Yeah,
It's not an arena issue. And I say, well, they were playing in Bedlam, so there were a lot of OSU fans there. And it was the best crowd they'd had since 2013. The official attendance was like 9,500, which means if you know the occupancy of Lloyd Noble Center, there were 2,000 empty seats. So my issue is I hate that we, want to say we beat our chest about, hey, biggest crowd since 2013. Biggest crowd since 2013 was an 83% sellout or an 83% occupancy game.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it would be tough. It's tough because I think Porter's a good coach. And I just don't know how he can recruit. Because if you go to a game as a top end recruit and you don't see anybody in the stands and You don't, you see an arena that's really outdated and this, that, and the other, and you have other options. The guys we want are the guys that have other options. The guys that we, you know, covet to come in and be those game changers, they have other options.
Yep.
And basically, the argument is, well, Lon was able to take, fill butts and seats, and he had Trey Young, and we've had Blake Griffin come through, and man, let's think about back in the '80s and whatnot. Man, it was so much fun to have, Wayman Tisdale and all these guys. Like, you're basically admitting that you'll only go watch a winner.
Yeah.
So you're admitting to being a fair weather fan. Number two, I mean, 4 out of the 5 jerseys in the rafters before Trey's goes up eventually, that'll make 5 of the 6 jerseys in the rafters that are guys from Oklahoma. So basically you're saying, hey, look, we've got to get guys from Oklahoma. And if they don't, and if Oklahoma doesn't produce a Naismith type level player, then we're just going to have to deal with it. Or you're going to have have a guy like Buddy who just blows up in development and, happens to really outplay his initial ranking. So, basketball teams got a long road ahead. And it's funny, I read it, or somebody said today, well, at least they're going to the SEC where it gets a lot easier. And I thought to myself, man, as people who talk about football all the time, it just cracks me up to hear the words, can't wait to go to the SEC where it gets easier. But it's true. It's true. The Big 12 is the best conference in basketball by far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, TCU might be a Final Four team we were looking at last night, and they're 6th in the Big 12.
Yeah.
6th. We're 8th. So, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. You've got Kansas State doing big things with Tang in their first year. You've got really good coaches there. But even KU just had a 3-game skid. I mean, when's the last time that happened, right? Yeah. So it's a deep league, and we don't have the big bodies inside. Tanner Groves fights his ass off in there. He tries, but it's just when a guy's got that much size on him going up against him, he can't do it all night. Sam Godwin has provided good minutes, but he doesn't have the width or the girth that you need to, bang with some of these guys down low. So if your shooting's off, this OU team struggles to find baskets.
Yeah. I mean, it's a situation. I think we've spoken about it before. I mean, living in Indiana, that fan base has always filled Assembly Hall down in Bloomington, even when they went through, struggling years. And so even in years that weren't good, they were still able to recruit, top talent. Now, granted, they had top talent in their state, and there's always top talent in state Indiana. Just like Oklahoma, there's that top talent in football. There's a 1, 2, 3, however many you want to get them to Oklahoma. It's the same way it is up here. But, right now Purdue has taken over Indiana recruiting. And so, how is IU still going to get those people or those players? And they have, simply because their fan base is the way they are. And they attract, when you go to a game in Assembly Hall, like, you remember it. I've been to 3, and they're all packed out. Right. And you remember that atmosphere. It's similar. And I hate bringing this up because the program is what it is. But I mean, A&M, right? Their fan base is crazy and they're rabid, but that is why some recruits do choose to go there, honestly, because they like the atmosphere. And so you can't say atmosphere doesn't matter. And you don't always have to win, case in point, A&M, to have a good atmosphere, right? Or even Nebraska, that we've talked about a little bit before. Obviously, they may not sell out every game like they have, but they still have a passionate fan base up there. So I think Oklahoma really has to get behind the basketball program. Not only, I've seen some people say from the administration down, they feel like the administration can do more, and sure, maybe, but also the fans. I mean, I have family who live in Oklahoma. I know that basketball is big in Oklahoma. It's not football, but we can't act as if there's not been really good basketball to come out of the state of Oklahoma, and that Oklahomans don't care about basketball because they do. So y'all just need to
Not
show.
as much as people in Indiana do, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. That's a
Like,
certified
yeah,
fact. They don't. But
Indiana has fantastic basketball, just tradition. There's no doubt about it.
yeah,
But I think, you talk about, the atmosphere, even at a place like A&M. Like, I'm not a big believer in having to bribe the students to support their basketball team. And that's why I'm a big believer in getting a new arena and getting an entertainment district around it and moving it north of campus.
yeah,
Because the I say students that go now will still go if you move it off campus, because not many of them are walking to it anyways.
yeah,
So if you do that and you get a good product and you make it nice and you do all that, like what if you rent a shuttle from, you do one that goes through Greek and it stops off at the dorms and it stops at Campus Corner, and you take them to this entertainment district that's being built around a stadium. Like, you need something, because like I said, it's, Porter can try and do what he does, but it's not resonating with people trying to get butts and seats.
yeah,
And a lot of people say it's the style of play. I will hear those arguments for sure.
yeah,
But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just a tough recruiting gig. And people, the atmosphere, like you said, it matters. We have people say, "Oh man, home field advantage is it's fugazi. It's just a made up term." Like, no, home field advantage, like that KU game, like you could feel the crowd coming down on top of all the OU players. That's part of the reason why we blew that lead. And you could feel the run coming. You never feel that at Lloyd
yeah,
Noble Center. So,
yeah,
I mean, yes, a great coach, like a great Hall of Fame level coach, can just work with it. But we've lost games by one score. Like, what, 4 games by one score in conference? Drew, if you don't shut up about Duke, I'm going to kick you out the chat.
it's no
Dude.
camp indoor. Look,
It's like his third or fourth comment about Duke.
it doesn't have to be right. I mean, you can still fill a space, right? I'll even use another historic program. Granted, they're mid major, but Butler, right? That's smack dab middle of Indianapolis. It's they got historic Hinkle Fieldhouse from the movie Hoosiers, beautiful facility, but it only really seats like 5,000, 5,500, something
Yeah.
like that. But the presentation, right? That's that kind of what you were getting at, Trav. Of why do people come? Like obviously they come to watch, but the way that they've done it is for the fan experience, and it's turned an old historic gym into they made some new things. I know let me just tell a real quick story and then we'll move on. I didn't want to go back to Hinkle Fieldhouse, and I'm mad at myself because I missed the great years of Gordon Hayward and the 2 Final Four teams. I should have went to more games. I went to a game when I was in high school. Eric Gordon, Greg Oden, and Mike Conley were playing each other because they all went to high school in Indianapolis. Okay, so they were Mike Conley and Greg Oden were on one team, Lawrence North, and Eric Gordon was on North Central. I lived in the North Central district. I trained with Eric Gordon's little brother, so like I was cheering for North Central. We were at the game. I was like 9 years old. I went to the bathroom. They still had troughs. And I know the football stadium still has troughs. I don't care now, but I cared then. And then what made it worse for me is I had to take a dump, and they had no stall doors. They had no stall doors, and I was traumatized. I was 9 years old. I'm not wanting to poop in front of God and everybody. I'm trying to be private, and I was upset. And I told my dad, I don't want to come back. Like I was embarrassed. I'm good. I don't want to use the bathrooms there. But anyway, all that to say, they've updated things now, and it's a great place to go and enjoy a basketball game. But
We're learning so much about you.
but yeah, hopefully it gets figured out because I do think again, while like you said, Oklahoma may not be known for like its basketball prowess per se. I think it has enough to have fans come out. I mean, Arkansas too. Like they're not necessarily known for basketball, but you know what? They fill out their stadium. You know, they do. I remember when I lived there, they went to every home game. And granted, I know it's the only thing to do there. They don't have a pro team. They don't have a pro team. I know there's the Thunder. So maybe they have that going for them. But even
Yeah,
still, right?
Thunder has hurt attendance. There's no doubt about that. I mean, like OU, like fan experience people at OU have even said like they've done like studies and stuff of like it's hurt. OU and OSU are both down ever since the Thunder arrived.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right, guys. Hey, let's go ahead and move into just a little bit of question and answer time. We'll spend 20, 25 minutes talking about that. Also, I found out why the numbers are down today. I had no idea.
Yeah, insiders doing their live.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Golly,
I would
those
have
guys,
I would have
those
kept it at
guys.
9:30. I thought that they only did that
The press
uh,
conferences.
because of the press conferences. We ain't doing press conferences no more. It's cool. It's cool. Hey, y'all know we're the original Wednesday night gurus. Okay, I'm just throwing that out
Right.
there. We staked our claim to it. We was there. We've been here for a while. But let's move on. Let's rock with the people who's in here with us. Ask some questions. What do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to? What are some things some topics you want to hit on? You can go back and watch the lives later. I know we appreciate that, PG. Thanks, family. Here's one from Sean. What do you find more exciting and appealing, to come watch a highlight reel dunker like Blake Griffin, or one that can light it up from anywhere on the court, scoring 45 a game, shooting threes? I would say now somebody who scores 45 a game shooting threes. I think back in Blake Griffin's day, you wanted to see a highlight reel dunker. And I'm not saying that you don't want to see that still, but like I think Steph Curry has changed the game that much that you know when I mean Trey Young filled seats, right? Like he wasn't that type of player, but or as far as like dunking highlight reel, but he could fill it up, right, and break people down, shoot deep threes. I think that that type of player too right now draws a lot of people, but obviously at the end of the day, winning draws a lot of people. Trav, you got anything on that one?
Yeah, to your point, whatever ends in wins.
Yeah,
Winning cures all. But they both have their ooh ah factor. But if we're talking about like the peak, I feel like it's got to be the guy that's shooting from deep, because I feel like the anticipation, the showmanship, like when you see the shot go up, the whole crowd just goes quiet while it's in the air, and then it goes through, and all of a sudden the place erupts. Like that feels like, and if you can get a guy like that's really good and starts, doing some Trey or some Steph like things where they put it up and then turn around or something like that,
yeah,
it can really get you going. But the difference, I think, is your guy that can dunk real big, that guy often can block shots.
yeah,
The guy often can make the big defensive play. So I think that's where it gets a little different. Is the big dunker guy seems like he, at least in the college game, might be a little more useful. Like if I had to pick a guy to be on this current team, like if I could have Blake or Trey, I'd have Blake on this team.
yeah,
Like just to get a big body down there that is physical enough and strong enough to take on other players. Because what you really need is what we have right now is some weak side blockers, right? So it's
yeah,
like if you remember Serge Ibaka back with the Thunder when he was really coming on back in that like 2000, I don't know, 14 season for the most part,
yep.
like
Mhm.
weak side blocks were his jam, man. Like he would, like they'd body up the other side And then he would just come in with the perfect timing, the perfect, jump, the anticipation, and block it. Right now, we only have weak side guys. We need somebody to be able to body somebody up down low. And it doesn't come down to height. We've got good length on this team. We've got good height on this team. But like you don't have a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Like you had Kadeem Latin, he
That's a
was
name.
that offside guy.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
So that's a name. I remember.
Yeah. Kadeem Latin was 6'9", 190 pounds coming out of high school. I mean,
They're skinny.
That is skinny. And he was in there, Ryan Spangler from Blanchard, Oklahoma, I believe. He was in there. Mm-hmm. But they were a complement to each other. Mm-hmm. Those two down low could do that. But with only having, like, you don't get the same effect with, like, Sam Godwin and, like, Tanner Groves being in there. Because Tanner's going to stand out by the free throw or by the three-point line at the top of the key a lot of the time. He can hit that shot. He has hit that shot. It's funny. I don't know if I said it. Was it the group chat I said it to? Or I think it might have been a DM. Somebody was like, man, I can't believe at the end of, I think it was the Kansas game, I can't believe we've got our center shooting threes. Doesn't have a chance to make that shot. You never saw, Phil Jackson take the ball out of Kobe Bryant's hands. And I was like, what's wild is Tanner Groves has a higher three-point percentage than Kobe Bryant, which seems weird. But it's like he can make the shots, but, man, it's like he doesn't take them. I think he's dealing with some issues of having Godwin down there. I don't think he's like I don't know. I think he's used to being the guy, the bigger guy, and I think now that Godwin's in there, it's messing with him a little bit. But I don't know. We've kept it tight with some really, really good teams. Some of the top teams in the country we've kept it tight with. We just can't get over the hump, which sounds a lot like football season. So I hope we can get done with saying that. Soon.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. And you're right about what you're talking about with Groves there at the end. Hopefully, they figure it out and get it together. It's been a tough season for sure. I don't think it's indicative of Porter Moser as a coach, but
it's not going to get any easier with number 2 Alabama coming to town.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's going to be. I hope we have a crowd, man. Like a little bit of one.
Just come out. Just do it. Just go see a good game. Hopefully.
Come out, guys. Come on. You want to do it. It's a weekend.
Yeah.
Longar. A Longar in the chat. Gotta love that.
Longar. How do y'all feel on the 6'8", 320 plus O-line commit? I want to see him try out being on the D-line. I must have missed that. Who is?
Yeah, I don't know about a D-line. It's a preferred walk-on.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I want him on the D-line necessarily. It all comes down to footwork with these guys. So, like, when you see a guy that size and 6'8", 320, like, it's
6'8", 250 says Tattoo Baker.
Well, I think 6'8", 250 was, I think that's an old one. Because even, like, I personally think that's old. I'll have to get it fact checked. But regardless, it comes down to footwork, and technique. Did you guys see Brian Baldinger's breakdown of Trent Williams when he was going against Micah Parsons? So he broke it down, and he's like, look, this guy, I mean, every single frame, he's pointing out what Trent Williams is doing. And I know Trent Williams is the best left tackle in football, so I'm not saying that if this guy isn't Trent Williams, then I don't want him on the team. What I'm saying is, like, what makes Trent Williams so good is his footwork. He's incredible. Even Baldinger was like, the guy looks like a ballerina out here. Look at him. He's dancing. He's got Micah Parsons on his hands. He's dancing like a ballerina. He's never flat-footed, things like that. Like, just that's what it comes down to. And so when I see a guy with a ton of size, I always wonder this. I'm like, is he just really big, but he's been going against, guys that, are tiny, and he hasn't had to develop the footwork. He hasn't been at camps. He hasn't been doing this, that, or the other. If you are 6'8" and 300-ish pounds, odds are you're not usually a preferred walk-on. That's my guess. So I don't know. We'll see. It is preferred walk-on time. So you're starting to see a lot of these go out. We got a couple kids from Bixby, including the player of the year, first team All-State safety, had multiple multiple pick sixes and start of the playoffs. Just he's a monster. But yeah, it's preferred walk-ons. You really have to temper your expectations of. And I know it's exciting to see a bunch of commitment edits, no doubt about it. But you got to temper your expectations with these guys.
How many do we have? 4 or 5 that we've signed in the last couple?
In the last like 2 days, I feel like it's been like 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a decent amount.
No, there's a decent amount of them. And here's the thing. I'm like, this is going to sound wild, but if you're staff, don't sign a bunch of Bixby kids as preferred walk-ons and say, yep, we just really care about getting in-state talent. Don't you do that to me. Because I got a list in my phone of all the 918 kids that are 4 stars and up.
918.
That did not get pursued as heavily by OU as they should have. A lot of kids. So, yeah, it's, again, temper your expectations with these guys. I do think it's interesting that we have one scholarship offer out. Taylor from Glenpool. He says, on his profile, it says he's 6'3", 190. It seems that he's grown because he says he is 6'5" now. If you want some size in the wide receiver room, he plays linebacker, quarterback, and wide receiver. So, so we'll see. But he should commit. I think he's on an OV this weekend. I would be shocked if he left the OV without committing. But that doesn't even move our recruiting ranking. And when I say it doesn't remove our ranking, it doesn't even change our score because he doesn't have a composite score yet. 247 has him as a 3-star. He does not have a composite ranking. So, interesting stuff there when you think of, Malachi Coleman, Micah Tees, Cole Adams, guys that you could have plugged into probably a wide receiver room at some point. But you had 3 guys committed and didn't want to scare them off. So,
Do you think about Michael Hawkins on the 31st still?
I still feel so. He had talked about. We put out a tweet about pushing his commitment date back.
Mm-hmm.
He then deleted the tweet. I think OU saw it, or his dad saw it. Got to talk to him a little bit, and I personally think, if I'm just listening to my gut, that he will commit on the 31st. So what is that? Was a week from Monday, was it?
Tuesday.
No. Week from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he does because I do radio on Wednesdays. So I'd like him to commit on Tuesday so we can then talk about it on Wednesday. Selfishly, that's what I would like.
That would be so fun.
That'd be nice because I've had to go through some rough ones on Wednesdays. What stinks was I got the Hicks on a Wednesday, like middle of the show. Like he committed middle of the show to A&M.
Remember that?
And everybody drug us through the mud on it.
Yep.
And then Peyton Bowen commits to Oregon same day as my show. But then I'm off air on Thursday, and he flips on Thursday. I'm like, dog, what's going on, man? So maybe Wednesday announcements are just not good for us.
Yeah, sounds like it with Hicks and Cohen. You're right. It's like, man,
And Cecilia Kana was Wednesday as
it
well.
was Wednesday. It's like you don't get to talk about it until the next week.
It's I hate it. But old Chad Littlefield, aka Gunny,
Gunny.
says you do radio on Wednesdays. Where would that be at?
LOL.
It'd be on KREF.
Okay,
Download the KREF app.
the People's radio station. Keaton, we ain't seen those in the Big 12 schedule yet. I mean, I've seen rumors of it, and I've had people send me what they think is going to be a schedule or allegedly the leaked schedule. But I mean, I want it. When is it coming? I don't know.
Man, and this is the problem, man. Like, we know Yormark is his background is in entertainment.
Yep.
He understands the value of being in the news cycle. He understands the value of attention and when the attention needs to be on you. This isn't a situation where he's going to release it on a Friday at 4:00, so it gets lost over the weekend. He wants to be the topic of conversation. When he said the Big 12 is open for business, he didn't just mean that we were taking or that the Big 12 was taking new teams. He means, look, open for business with TV stuff, open for business with new creative partnerships, open for business with, I mean, the guy came from Rock Nation. Like, he's got a lot of interesting ideas. So what I think was going to happen, or I think was going to happen, JP, is I think that he was going to release it on the day of the national championship game, because I think that they wanted attention on them, but I don't think that they realized that TCU would be in the game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they do it right after the AFC NFC championship games, because that Monday you'll have something to talk about, and the only thing that people will be talking about in all college sports will be the Big 12 schedule with the new teams and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, and it's exciting because other conferences want to see how we're going to handle, scheduling it like that. So I think, I think it's going to be out, I would guess, in the next 2 weeks, because I don't see any other big football related events that you could attach it to on a Monday.
I understand the marketing ploy. I don't know. It's frustrating for us, but we leave.
Yeah, man. I want to book hotel rooms. I want to, if
Yeah.
I'm going to Provo, I want to get some, some lift tickets. If I'm going to, if I'm going to Cincinnati, I want to, get a hold of New Riff and, get some tasting set up. And I want to, like, that kind of stuff. Like, come on, like, you've got all the attention you want. Yeah, I promise you, we got text after text after text today on it on KREF, and it's just like, guys, sorry, we don't have the schedule yet. So
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they're probably trying to screw over OU, but I've heard rumors that Joe C saw the schedule and is slowing the process down now as he tries to change. I've heard rumors of that.
Hey, my boss Joe C. You know how he run.
You never know, man. He probably wore one of them slick hats in there.
Yeah,
and
gotta see on there. Said, look here, you not. It's Oklahoma Sooners, baby. Okay.
Oklahoma. Oh, that's funny.
He asked another good question. He's coming up with all the good questions tonight. What's one current Big 12 team you don't want on the schedule this upcoming season? So I'm assuming he means the Big 12 that we have had, not any of the new 4 teams. So out of the Big 12 we've seen since 2010, who do we not want to see on the schedule? I know for me, I don't want to see Kansas State on there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Personally, yes.
I don't want to see Kansas State simply because you don't lose anything rivalry based. I get it that they're going to be out Deuce, but Will Howard, I believe, is back. He showed some things. Like, I'm done with playing Kansas State, man. Like, there's not even a good, like, and I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody, but there's not even a good, like, Twitter account, like, that you can banter with them. Like Iowa State's got Cyclone Larry. You got Stats of War, old Parker, with TCU. You've got some opportunity, like, to at least have some banter with them or something, but not Kansas State, man. They just come in, shove you around a little bit, and then take their W and go on their way. So I'm interested to see what the chat thinks and back it up. Like, give me a reason. Like, who do you not want to see on the schedule? And I'll open it up even to teams that are in the new Big 12. So teams that are in the new Big 12.
Yeah.
And teams that are in the current Big 12. Chat, who would you not want to see?
Let's see it.
Don't want to see OU at Texas Tech. Okay. That is true. You might see some, kind of like we saw when we were back-to-back at OSU. You kind of, like, anytime there's a schedule change, you got to worry about, home and away type situation being doubled up. Oh, man. See.
Hey, not for me. It's 2 hours for me.
What's funny is, here's what's wild.
Yeah.
Like, those two comments in a row, going to Cincy would suck and miss me heavy with K-State or BYU. I would say that the top two places that I want to go next year are Cincinnati and BYU. Like, look up BYU Stadium. Whoever don't want to go BYU. Keaton. Google BYU Stadium in Provo. It is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
The mountains.
In
like,
the
that's
background.
I'm going to go skiing. You kidding me? I'll go skiing on Friday. Hope not to kill myself. And then Saturday, go catch a football game. You know what? Like, that's what I'm going to do. And then Cincinnati is right across the Ohio River from Kentucky and some incredible distilleries. So I'm going to be feeling pretty good there while I'm in Cincinnati, just right across the Ohio River, baby. Yeah, we're not eating Skyline by any stretch of the imagination.
Hey, don't hate on Skyline though. Skyline kind of good.
You'd be hanging out with PG eating your PB&J on tortillas. Yes.
I just go to Skyline for the habanero cheese. That's it.
Habanero cheese is a winner. Yeah, I would agree. I would say, yeah, UCF. I don't know if we've done this yet. Have you ranked your new Big 12 teams most, looking forward to going or want to avoid? Did you list them in order?
If I had to list them in order, I would want. So, do you want me to do both? Do you want to do both? And just have to do both.
Just rank
where you want to go, and then rank. Oh, just in general. Okay.
Best to worst of the four teams.
In terms of where we want to go, or just what we think of the team. Okay.
Yes. One is where you want to go most, down to you want to go least.
Okay. I would want to go to. I mean, obviously, for me personally, this is a selfish reason, Cincinnati, because it's close. But I also, I know some people in Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati. I've been down there. It's a cool scene.
Get to hang out with Joe and Samaje?
Yeah. I'm sure they would show up.
They would absolutely show up to that game.
You already know they would show up.
If they had a home game that weekend, absolutely.
It'd be deep. I would probably say BYU next, just for the views for me. Now, I know people. I've known people that have gone to BYU, been out in Provo. They don't love Provo, the town. That's what they tell me. They say people are weird there, but obviously the stadium is beautiful, so it'd be a great game to go to. Hopefully not in like December or November, excuse me. Um, and then I would probably say UCF and then Houston.
Okay. I got BYU at the top. I would love to, um, go skiing maybe. If not, I've heard just even the gondola rides, not gondola. Sorry, I was just in the Venetian, not gondola. The ski lift rides through the mountains, they say, are just incredible. So I would love that. My number 2 is Cincinnati because of the distilleries. How fun it would be to do a bourbon trip with the boys, and then end up in Cincinnati. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then my next, I see a lot of people say UCF at number 3. I got Houston at number 3.
Really?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of OU fans in the Houston area. I think, being there are a lot of OU players from the Houston area. There are a lot of OU recruits and targets in the Houston area. I like that. It's an easy trip. You can drive it in 8 hours. You leave at midnight. You're there by breakfast, like I do. Always enjoyed that. And UCF, like, it's just a tourist town, man. You're owned by Disney when you're there. It's far. Like, you know, I like driving to places because I like the road trip aspect of it, really.
Yeah.
Driving to Orlando, ooh boy, that's a task. So, like, I don't know. Miss me with the UCF. I'll put that down there at number 4. And that's why James brings up Houston. My thing is, I'm driving overnight, baby. I am leaving at 10 p.m. I'm leaving at midnight, something like that. I'm not I'm not dealing with Dallas and Houston traffic on one trip. Are you kidding me? Nah. I'm going through middle of the night. Ain't got to worry about any of that. That's smart. You just take a quick nap the next day. Good to go.
I've never been to Houston.
Houston's great. I was there for that battle rap event we talked about last time.
Oh man, I love that. Travis hates Disney and loves Carnival Cruise Lines because you don't want to go to Orlando.
It must be it. Yeah,
So you
I've
want
never
to?
been. I've never been on a cruise, so
Oh, bro,
never.
cruises are great. You gotta go.
I've been all over. I've been on trips to coast, and
Yeah.
I'll be. I was already in Chicago, Vegas, going to Pebble Beach in April, and Paso Robles in April, and yeah, I just never. I've just never been on a cruise. I don't know why it is. I just never. I don't know. It never came up. Some of the boys are trying to plan one, and I'm cool with it. It's not that I would rather not. It's just we just haven't decided to.
Oh, that's not what I meant to click. But
Yeah, Gunny knows what's up. Any message from Gunny, we know it's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Merrick in the
Also
house.
asked, first 2024 defensive commit.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Um, that's tough. That is tough. How about defensive commit?
I know everybody want to hear you say David Stone, but
Nah, he's going to drag it out.
yeah.
Give me Peyton Pierce. Peyton Pierce out of Lovejoy is very close to Michael Hawkins Jr. I know Tom Loy from Notre Dame thinks he's going to Notre Dame, but Tom Loy doesn't talk to anybody other than the Notre Dame staff, as evidenced by his reporting on Peyton Bowen. So they're going to say, okay, he's going there. But I don't think he is. I think Peyton Pierce ends up in Norman. Like I said, he is very close with Michael Hawkins Jr. He tried to get him to come play at Lovejoy with him last year. Tried again this year. Didn't work out. Michael Hawkins is now playing at Frisco. So I honestly think it's between Peyton Pierce and Nigel Smith. Because I think Nigel Smith understands he's going to be a junior day as well. I think Nigel Smith understands that the defensive line room will likely fill up quickly. So, yeah, I mean, Aaron Flowers is as good a guess as any. But, yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Okay. Let's see here. Why are some OU fans worried about Chad Simmons, Cristobal, and David Stone? I mean, we all know that the common theme of his mom not wanting him to stay in Oklahoma. So, I mean, I don't know if that's something to worry about per se. As far as I understand it, and Trav, you can correct me if I'm wrong. David himself would like to be at OU.
Yes, David has tried to commit to OU before, I believe. And his mom says, no. Here's the thing. The optics of it from a third party would suggest that David Stone's probably going to Michigan State because he's been there a bunch. Only problem with that is David doesn't announce when he's going to OU. He doesn't announce when he's taking visits. That kid spends more time on OU's campus, in the facilities even, than he does at his own home whenever he's back in Oklahoma. So I still think he ends up at Oklahoma. I think it's very similar to a Peyton Bowen situation. If you all remember so long ago when we were talking about this, Dad wanted Oregon, Mom wanted Notre Dame, but Peyton wanted Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think that's what this is going to boil down to. I think, maybe Mom wants him at Michigan State, but I think David wants to be at Oklahoma.
Do you think he ends up there?
I think David Stone ends up at Oklahoma, yes.
Okay. All right. We have a couple minutes left. Let's get to this or that. I do have some prompts for us today. I've played a little bit.
So I know we didn't get to last week.
I know. This or that is the game where, we have two prompts and you have to decide, if you get a gun to your head, you have to choose one. I know some of y'all be trying to be like neither. We don't do neither here. You got to choose one, dog. Choose one, even if you don't like it. Okay. So here we go. First one. Talked about basketball earlier. Buddy Hield or Trae Young? Who do you want? Who do you want on your team in college? Let's do college. There was at OU. Who do you want on your team? Buddy Hield or Trae Young? Trav, you start us out. Chat. Y'all go ahead and put it in there, and we'll go. This one of my boys. He a Bama fan. He's like a brother to me, but he on my nerves. So he said Buddy though.
I think Buddy's going to dominate a lot. I think probably because Buddy's team went farther, obviously into the Final Four. But I think I'm going Trae Young, man. I don't think Trae's team was as talented as Buddy's was. And I love me some Buddy Hield, don't get me wrong. Like, again, as all of these, as I give the preface every time, because I pick one doesn't mean I hate the other. This isn't a situation where I can say, oh, I really like, watermelon. And you're like, oh, Travis said he was hating cantaloupe on the live. Like, not a thing. I would go Trey because he is still the only player in college basketball history to lead the entire country in points and assists. I think that often gets overlooked. I think a lot of people think, oh man, I remember he just would shoot from deep, blah, blah. I personally think if you put Trey on that buddy team, they have equal amount of success. But I just think there's a reason Trey was the draft pick that he was. There's a reason Trey's been the all-star that he's been. There's a reason that Trey is the villain in New York. There's a reason that he does all these things. It's because he's he's a special player. And Buddy is a specialist with the, with the 3-point shot, with this, that, or the other. And no, I agree, Christopher. I agree. But I just think that I think we're wrapping up too much team success. I think we're wrapping up too much team success in the answer. I think while Buddy was a good scorer, a great shooter, I think Trey's ability to distribute the ball, I think his ability to distribute the ball would give him the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I would probably say Buddy. If we're going, them while they're an OU player. Granted, clearly Trey is the better player and will continue to be the better player. But Buddy at OU, his last year was unstoppable. I mean, the man was ridiculous. He had people at the Fog in Allen Fieldhouse, right, giving him a standing ovation. Shut up, Chris. Sorry. Oh, that's my boy. We go back and forth all the time. But anyways, I mean, he was crazy, man. And I think, and he's in Indianapolis now, so I get to see him play. I'm gonna get to see him play Friday night when they play the Bucks, and so it's awesome to see his 3-point shooting prowess and how he's growing. But yeah, man, I just think Buddy really took over a lot of games that year, and not that Trey didn't. Trey, his team wasn't as talented, like you said, and I think you can factor in team success too. But either way, they were both great, and I'm glad we had them at OU. As you said earlier in our conversation, maybe we need another one to get those seats filled.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if we had Trey as long as we had Buddy?
Yeah, that would be unreal.
I mean,
well, he would have graduated last year.
Yeah, I mean, like that would be impressive. But I mean, this team that Buddy had: Jordan Woodard, Isaiah Cousins, Spangler, and Latin, Dante Buford, Christian James, was a freshman that year. Like, Rashard Odoms was a freshman that year. Like,
yeah,
you had. I mean, you talk about just Spangler and Latin. Like,
Spangler was a beast.
I mean, with those guys, can you imagine? I don't know. Imagining Trey on that team, I'm like, okay, that would be nice. Simply just the ability to distribute would be crazy.
All right, next one. Going to the movies. Okay, which movie do you prefer out of these two? I know there's a lot of genres out there, but these are some popular ones. So let's just do these two. Would you prefer to see a comedy movie or an action movie? Obviously, we know that some comedies have action in them. Some action movies have comedy in them. But overarching theme, which one would you rather see?
Are we talking in theaters or not?
In theaters.
I'm going action. It's you get to the sound system matters more, the size of the screen matters more. Last action movie I saw in theaters was Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was just like, it felt like you were there. It was awesome. So while I feel like comedy, I feel like that's more of a at home, you throw it on, it's on Netflix, but I really don't. What's the best comedy to come out recently? Because I know we've got some old school ones. like literally old school,
Yeah.
and some from that group, like the kind of how Will Ferrell plays the same character, like Semi Pro and
Right.
Talladega Nights and other guys and all that kind of stuff. What's the most recent good comedy movie that came out?
Man, it's been a minute. I guess you could say a couple of Kevin Hart movies he's had has kind of been funny, but I can't think of one that I've like seen and like cackled in for a long time at a movie theater. The mid 2000s had a lot of them, but I just,
Right.
I don't know.
Let's see. See what the internet has to say.
What are some good comedy movies y'all have seen? Y'all put it in the chat. I know a lot. It seems like a lot of people say action. There's a couple people that says comedy, and I'll say I would go with comedy. Personally, I'll say that for me. I love laughing in theaters. When you see a good comedy movie in theaters, it just enhances the experience because you're laughing all together.
Yeah, the little group laugh. I get it.
Yeah.
Where would you put horror in that lineup? If you had to rank first, second, and third on the podium,
Personally,
comedy, action, and
I
horror.
would put horror at the bottom. I'm not a big horror movie guy.
Yeah, I'd probably go action, comedy, horror. ACH, if you will.
ACH.
Yeah, Shannon says horror can be comedy.
Hey,
Yeah, I get it. Like a lot of different things can be that. Like you could be horror with action. You can have scary moments in an action movie. You can have comedic moments in an action movie. You can have action-packed moments in a comedy. You can have action-packed moments in a horror. It can be all over.
This is fair. This is a
It's a
fair
great point by Will Cosby there.
Yeah. You can you can find a lot of comedy on YouTube and social media. We just go assume that's just not an alias.
Right.
you know.
Great stuff from Will Osby.
Yeah.
Will Cosby. Appreciate it. But no, that's a great point. Comedy is on YouTube, social media now. It's on Instagram Reels. It's on TikTok. It's on all that stuff. So that is a good point. Shorts, YouTube Shorts, Reels, all that kind of stuff, all lend itself to comedy. No big horror people in the house. Now, I don't know if Jimmy Satterfield is saying that he prefers scary movies
I think
or that he thinks the movie Scary Movie is a good comedy.
Probably that. It is. That is interesting. It is an interesting comedy.
That's tough.
Scary movies. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's move on to our last one, the food one. It's a dessert one. Frozen yogurt or frozen custard? Which
you
one
go first?
You say you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. And mom just texted me and asked if I had an outdoor heater in my kitchen.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, it's the mic.
Ma, this is a microphone.
It does kind of though. If you had to look at it from far though, on the side, it does kind of look like it's in the back. That's funny.
Right. This is the microphone. So, but yes, I could see how the top of like my fridge handle right there.
Yeah.
Could be the base of it, but no.
I'm gonna go frozen custard. I like custard better than. I tried the froyo in high school. It was okay. I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. I would rather have custard, in my opinion. It's more authentic towards ice cream for me. That's what I would say.
Trap House. I thought it was a still. Trav and they're making hooch.
Trap, I'm dead. Trap, you got to answer, bro. You don't want the neither. You got to choose one, dog.
And Hank doing the same thing. What's up with these neither? These neither Nellies.
Choose one.
I'm going with frozen custard simply because of the nostalgia. Grew up going to Asbury United Methodist in the old location. That was over off of 61st and Sheridan in Tulsa. And they had a place called Custard King. And man, it was like the whole place was smaller than my living room. And it was a little shack right next to the Whataburger, and you'd roll around that, and tell you what, man, they had incredible stuff. Like, I need to roll back on over there.
Yeah.
Greek yogurt. Trap House, you better be like 2% body fat, just yoked out of your mind.
Trav,
If you're answering this question based on
talking about regular yogurt, we're
protein.
talking about frozen yogurt. You know what I mean? Like,
Gunny's going Ive cream.
A place and you pull the handle down, and they got like the different. Indiana got a lot of frozen yogurt places up here. I don't know about Oklahoma.
All them froyos.
How about frozen margaritas?
How about them? Although frozen margaritas are tough because they don't stay frozen for the most part, right? The bottom ends up, floating. All the ice separates, all the tequila separates, everything like that. So, yeah, if I'm going with a frozen cocktail, I might go with like a pina colada, perhaps, or maybe a Miami Vice, which is
like pina colada,
half daiquiri, half frozen margarita. So, who knows? Yes, right. Yeah, right across from Charlie's Chicken. Yep. Jay Winslow knows what's up. Jay Winslow knows exactly where the Custard King is. Right across from Church's Chicken, or Charlie's Chicken, right over there.
Hey, Church's Chicken. Yeah, that place is. They can cook some chicken now. I'm just saying. I had KFC tonight, and it reminded me why I don't like KFC.
I don't think I've had KFC since I think it was probably like during a road trip, like a family road trip or something like that. And we stopped at KFC, like the middle of nowhere. It had to have been because I don't think I have actively sought out KFC in a very long time.
I haven't. My friend wanted it, and I regretted the decision. But it's okay because I still love and appreciate him, even though he has weird food choices. I don't ever have to worry about that with Trav. I know if I go out to eat with Trav, we gonna eat good. So
you good to go.
Let's just
certified, verified.
Get to link up in Cincinnati in the fall and get some good grub.
Have you?
We'll see that.
Have you considered? Like, have you looked at the map and see what potential away destinations have the best apple orchards?
You know what? Look,
it's a fair question.
It's not a fair question, though, because here's the thing. What you guys have to realize is I know I went, but I was locked in, okay? I was locked in. I was so locked in that I was screaming up and down when we won both of those games in the fashion that we did the same day, both years. I almost hit a kid in the eye both times because I was jumping up and down in the line getting some apple cider.
We could go to the apple orchard on Sunday, man. Something like that.
After a win, we could.
After a big win.
I'm down. Let's go to the brewery and then hit up some apple orchards. After we're spirited. Let's make it happen.
Exactly.
Hey, nice. Did I ever tell y'all about when I went to Oklahoma? Me and Trav, man, we had a grand old time that first night. We was out just chilling with each other, man. We saw some stuff. I saw a fight. These people came in and started swinging. Where are we at? We had Logies. We was at Logies. These people started swinging, and I just came back from the bathroom, and I was just like, what is happening? And Travis sitting there vibing. We had a good time, man. We was chilling, just people watching. He had a random person come up to him and say, "Oh, one dude from Twitter, the smoker guy, right?" And I was just like, "Man, this is crazy." He
was actually Jay Valai's recruiting assistant.
Yes.
Yeah, he was Jay Valai's recruiting assistant, and we were tracking essentially where Jay Valai was visiting all of his people before signing day.
It was amazing. It was fun. It was an amazing time. It was. It was good. But we hope to have more times like that in the future if we get this schedule, hopefully,
Yeah. When
by
we get the
next week.
schedule, we will start planning.
Absolutely.
And when we do get the schedule, the Wednesday show following it, the JP and Trav show following it, will be heavy, heavy schedule talk.
Yep.
That's
Heavy
when you start
schedule.
doing record predictions, everything like that.
Chopping it up. All right. Well, guys, it's about that time. No, Chris. Okay, my buddy, he's a he's a Bama fan. SEC. They already got their schedule. We don't have our schedule.
In like
No.
October.
Yeah, they got their schedule last fall. This is why when we get to the SEC, we don't have to worry about this. We'll have the schedule. We'll already be able to plan going to Florida or A&M, Baton Rouge, Knoxville. We've been to Knoxville, I guess, already, but Starkville, wherever else we may go in the SEC, we'll have to see. But thankfully, this is probably the last year that we'll have to wait on it. So, Trav, you got anything for the people before we head out?
I think we're good. I think I'm gonna wrap things up. I got Mario Kart going on behind me for some of you eagle-eared listeners, if you will. But really, I'm probably gonna hit the hay. Got a long morning after being in Vegas for so long. Got a lot of work to do to get caught up with all the stuff we got done there. So
Yeah.
nothing else for me.
Great. Well, we appreciate y'all, and we will see you here next Wednesday. Again, hopefully we have a schedule by then. But next couple of weeks we'll have some cool guests on. We'll announce those when the time comes. But again, we do have some guests coming on for you guys. Always appreciate you. Thanks for the guys who, stuck it out with us tonight. Appreciate y'all and appreciate everybody else who's going to watch throughout the week. Boomer.